What's up, grinders? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be responding to a post from one of you guys. That's right, I have a Discord. If you're unaware, the link's down in the description. Go here to join our community and leave random posts in there for me to possibly react to and give me content. And of course, while you're there, hit that sub button and make sure you join the community and give me money. Okay, so we're going to be responding to this. Need suggestion on learning a language that I hate. Hi everyone, first things first, I said hate on the title, and to a certain extent it is true, but more like I have been struggling since forever to learn that language over 20 years now, since the school time. Okay, so I understand. You don't hate it, you have a animosity towards it because you've been struggling with it for quite a long time. My biggest problem is that the main language that everyone operates in where I work is essentially the language he's trying to learn. He needs to get it to a C1 level. He's at a B1 level currently, but has a listening level of B2. So he's pretty fucking solid if you're asking me. I'm open for any suggestions that don't involve me pulling out my hair because for the love of them, they don't understand how the language works. They find the process painful. And they need it for daily life and conversations, blah, blah, blah. I summarized all that because I've read this type of stuff like a billion times before, and I've been through this type of stuff before, not just for languages, but for different skills. I often say languages aren't anything special. I know the hyperpolyglots here on YouTube, including Evildea hyperpolyglot. Sometimes we like to pretend that languages are this like mystical thing that exists as a specific skill set, completely separate to all the other skill sets out there, but it's not. It's something you can learn. Just like anything else out there, okay? Let's get to the core of your problem. But before we do, let's talk my own history, because I find people learn best via stories. So we're going to start with myself. I grew up in many small country towns, okay, in Australia, in monolingual areas. And I remember when I was growing up, I always had big dreams for the future about the type of shit I wanted to achieve in life. And most people, I won't say my parents, they were always like this, do what you want, son. But everyone else out there was always like, bro, what do you mean you want to be a fucking fighter pilot? You know, you can't be a fighter pilot. You're a country boy. You're a hillbilly, Australian version. You know, like the best you're going to achieve is working at the butcher. Maybe you'll become a manager at the butcher. That's the type of like community I grew up in, okay? So I always believed then, you know, I was a very limited individual. Mikkel's down in the comment section right now going, yeah, you're limited, bro. No, but like I always believed, well, I'm not going to say believe, because actually I didn't believe it, but I was always told I was very limited. Now, I also noticed that in these smaller towns where I grew up, people respected the person who learned a language, or even just spoke another language. Like, I remember when I was growing up, there was this moment where someone was like, oh, wow, he speaks French fluently. He's so cool. You know, like they were just talking about this random individual. And that kind of like left a burning thing on my brain of, okay, if you can speak another language, you must be smart. Now, I know if you're coming from like Europe or some fucking multilingual country, you're like, bro, what are you on about? Everyone here speaks like 5 fucking languages. It doesn't matter, okay? This is just my individual experience and what shaped me as a person, okay? This is the environment I grew up in. If I grew up in fucking, I don't know, Pakistan, maybe my experience with languages would be very different. So I remember growing up, I was thinking, the pinnacle of intelligence was someone who mastered other languages and just threw them out randomly in a restaurant and, you know, made everyone go, oh, you know, sworn and shit like that, okay? So I always thought I'd be fucking sick if I could speak a language, but I could. I could only speak English, and bad English at that, okay? But this always nagged at me. If I wanted to be the best of the best, well, then I would need to learn another language. But like, that wasn't really the best of motivators. But then another motivator slowly chipped at me over time, okay? If I did learn another language, that would prove to myself 100%, beyond a doubt, that I'm not just like some random, you know, idiot from the bush. I'm actually a capable person. Like, I have intelligence, and if I could learn a language, what else could I do? Like, all roads led to language, saying that if I could do this, then that meant so much more could be done. Okay, I remember my time while I was in the military and I was looking for something to do. This thought constantly just picked away at me. And one day I was like, you know what? Let's see. Let's answer this question once and for all. I hate sitting in this gray zone of not knowing. Let's answer the question, can I learn a language? Now, also, I'm a very smart person. In one other way, I'm very good at tricking myself. So I was like, well, I'm going to learn a language, but I'm going to learn the easiest one. So I learned Esperanto, or I started learning Esperanto. I figured in my brain, if I couldn't learn the easiest, it wouldn't matter if I tried learning the easiest or the hardest. If I failed on the easiest, well, then clearly I was going to fail on the hardest. So why take the long route to find out the same thing, that I'm just a fucking idiot, right? So I went with the easiest language. And because I had this core driving motivation to change myself as an individual, that pushed me forward in ways that, normally I would not do, because this was a make it or break it moment, okay? And it was a daily make it or break it moment. Every day I was like, bro, I don't know. I'm learning, but I don't speak it yet. And then when I start speaking it, I don't know. I'm speaking it, but it's like it's really bad, so I'm not good yet. And then I'll start speaking it better, and I'm like, well, I'm speaking it better, but like, I don't know. There's others who speak it better than me. And then I'd start speaking it better and better, and I'm like, I don't know. I need to prove this to myself. I'll launch a YouTube channel. I'll start speaking on a YouTube channel. And then as I got better and better, and eventually people start following me and asking me questions about how to learn this language. And by that point, people are starting to take me as kind of like I'm not going to say a guru, but they saw me as someone to look up to in their own language learning journey when it came to Esperanto. And it's at that moment I realized, fuck, I can learn a language. Holy shit, I've answered this question. Now, at the same time, this spread into other areas of my life. Well, if I can learn a language, then I can become a good programmer, right? Like, I want to make video games because I was playing lots of World of Warcraft. I want to make the fucking next World of Warcraft. And I didn't think I could learn a language, but I did. So maybe I can do that as well. And next thing you know, I'm at a school where I'm the oldest guy there, and I'm learning programming, and I'm whooping the asses of the little kids as I make progress. And it's all to prove to myself that I can do better than I thought I originally could. Now, this leads down to the roads of both Spanish and Chinese, where we are at today. Now, my Chinese journey was interesting because I never had this motivation with Chinese. And I believe this is what failed me for many, many years when I was trying to learn Chinese. So I spent many years on and off doing short, small, intense periods of study of Chinese, and then I'd just stop, okay? Now, I talk about the grind and how the grind is essential on this channel, but I've also spoken about motivation before, and this is what failed me with Chinese for many years. I never had a good motivation. Now, you might be thinking, oh, well, Evildea, clearly the motivation should just be, your wife's Chinese, speak Chinese with her. Yeah, but she speaks English. That's a fucking shit motivation. What am I going to achieve with that? I'm just going to, limit our conversation abilities, okay? Well, maybe you could speak with your in-laws. Bro, sometimes it's better to not be able to speak with the in-laws, as I've discovered as of recently. You ever hear that thing where someone says, they're an amazing person until you hear them speak? I'm pretty sure my in-laws thought about me that way for years. They're like, wow, he's so amazing. And then they start hearing me expressing my own thoughts in their language, and they're like, oh shit, he's just another human. So sometimes that's not the best motivation, because sometimes I'd study intensely and then I'd stop. Because what am I going to do? A couple of weeks a year, go over to China and use this language? There's not even much media that I enjoy in the language. There's very little to provide me of value, which is why I sat around let's say an A2 to an early B1 level for literally years, because I would study intently, then I would stop. And then I'll do a little bit more. And then I would stop. And sometimes the stopping periods would last a year to a year and a half until something changed. See, I started doing this YouTube channel, and this YouTube channel helped me. Well, I came back to this YouTube channel, but in English, but it helped me to redirect and internally look upon myself. And then I accepted the LingoPie Chinese challenge. And once I started that challenge, bro, my progression in Chinese is just, it's skyrocketed. Everyone in my life has commented about the fact that in 6 months, I have gotten so much better. Now, I'm not fluent, but I have doubled my abilities beyond a doubt, okay? I have massively progressed. I've had my wife commented on it, her friends commented on it, my in-laws commented, hell, even just random people in the family when I go back to China being like, what did you do? Did you just suddenly start doing a full-time course and just this became your life? Well, in some ways, yes, it did, but that's not what made me do that day in, day out. What made me do that was a change in mindset. I realized and I'm going to blame the haters, okay? The haters actually are my favorite source of motivation, because I would constantly get comments when I was talking about language learning from haters where they're like, bro, come on, settle the fuck down. You speak one language fluently. It's Esperanto. It's the easiest language in the world. It's not like you speak fucking Arabic or Japanese or Chinese fluently. And that started to nag at me. And I started thinking, you know what? You're right. I don't speak those languages fluently. And those are the hardest languages. If I can conquer one of the hardest languages, and I know there's going to be people being like, oh, Chinese is not the hardest language. Shut the fuck up, bro. I don't care, okay? It's good enough, okay? So if I can conquer one of the hardest languages, well, then I've done the whole spectrum. I've done easy, hard, because it doesn't matter. I don't need to do French to know, because I've already done Chinese. I didn't need to do Spanish, Japanese, freaking, because like, you've got one end with Esperanto, the other end with Mandarin Chinese. That's good enough for me to answer that question, okay? So that has been driving me to push forward harder and harder day by day, because every day I'm like, I'm making progress, but I'm not there yet. Like I'm starting to speak now, but I'm not as good as these other YouTubers who talk about Chinese. I need to get better. This is not me doing a comparison thing. It's my own driving thing about me suddenly needing to be able to speak this language well. That has helped me improve massively. It has also helped me find ways to enjoy the process, including gaming with Chinese YouTubers. I always spoke about, wanting to be able to game in Chinese, but wanting to do something and actually doing it are two different things. But if your motivation is to actually get good, well, then you're going to do everything to actually get good. I know it sounds stupid, but that core motivation has directed everything into the Chinese language. And it's why now I know, because I feel like I'm following the exact same route I took with Esperanto. I'm not using the same methods. Definitely not. I'm not in the same life state, but the same motivation is pushing me, and I can feel the progress day by day. And I know a year from now, I'm going to be on Chinese podcasts and I'm going to be talking about my journey. I know that's going to happen because this motivation is driving me. It's day in, day out. The grind is no longer a grind for me because I have that core motivation. But of course, every now and then I'll wake up and some days I'll be like, oh, I don't want to feel like it. And that's where the grind takes over, okay? So you need those two things. You need commitment via the grind and then a core motivation. Now, we've spoken 13 minutes about moi. Has this helped you answer your question? Well, let's have a look at your motivations, shall we? So your motivations are to get a C1 level in both writing and speaking specifically, because you need it for daily conversation, work-related stuff, but you hate the language. Does that feel like now, after hearing my motivation, sound like a good motivation? Sound like something that will actually drive you to improve in this language? I don't think so. What you need to do now is turn around, reflect on yourself, and find a way to make this an absolute requirement to who you are, a part of your personality. Without this, you fail as a human, basically. You need to make this a make it or break it moment. Now, if that is too much for you, then you need to step back and ask yourself, okay, what do I enjoy doing? Let's start there. What do I enjoy doing? If you enjoy, I don't know, playing video games, then stop doing it in English and do it in your target language. Now, I know you might be saying, oh, but it's hard, it's difficult. Well, that's the problem. You haven't got the driving motivation. If you had the driving motivation behind all that, that wouldn't matter. Who cares? That's part of the actual thing. So I would say, without knowing what the language is, you need to find a way to make this essential to who you are. And I'm going to give you an example with my Spanish and then my future fitness journey, just to help you understand that this is not just something that is unique to my circumstances, okay? Let's talk Spanish. When I started my Dreaming Spanish series, what was one of the first things I said at the beginning there? I have no interest in learning Spanish. And people thought, well, you're going to fail. Like the comments were filled with people saying, if you're not interested in Spanish, you're going to fail. And what? I'm now 1,100 something hours of learning Spanish, still making progression. Sure, not the fastest in the world, but that was never the goal. The goal was for me to see if I could do something that I didn't actually believe in. Now, why would I want to do that? Well, there's many reasons, okay? But I wanted to, because like I've got future goals for things I want to do. But if I can do something in languages, because I know I can learn languages now. If I can do something in languages that I don't necessarily believe in and still be successful, then that means I can fucking achieve anything I want in my life. Because think about it logically. Okay, we'll use a fitness example. I plan to start fitness challenges sometime in the future, not too far into the future, like actual fitness challenges. And I'll pick an example. Now, this is not necessarily the one I'm going to do, but I'm going to talk about me in my current state. Can I run an ultra marathon? No. Can I run a marathon? Fuck no, bro. I can't run a marathon. You fucking kidding me? Can I run a half a marathon? No. And that would make for a great motivator to see if I can break myself and actually do something that I thought I couldn't do. What happens if I suddenly woke up tomorrow and decided, let's see if I can run an ultra marathon. Now, obviously, I'm not just going to go outside and start running down the street. I'm actually going to start planning this. I'm going to start thinking about what happens if I could do this. Could you imagine me, Evildea, being sponsored to run a fucking ultra marathon? I know you guys would be down in the comments section laughing your ass off going, yeah, right, Red Bull's going to sponsor Evildea to run a marathon. Yeah, no, I get you. It sounds fucking ridiculous. But a year ago, who was going to sponsor me to learn Chinese? And now I have a company that's literally sponsoring me to learn fucking Chinese. Bro, I wouldn't have believed that shit was possible a year ago. But because I've changed my mindset and I've worked towards it. Okay, here's another one. Who would have believed that I would be the go-to for so many people about language learning and motivation? Bro, I speak less languages than most fucking people out there. And yet people come to me. Why? Because I set my motivations to be a core part of the outcome here, okay? Man, I'm getting so distracted. I'm getting all over the place. But I want to get back to the core of it, okay? If you make it necessary for who you are as an individual, then you will not fail. You will get better. Now, some people are going to say to you, well, you want C1 level, then work towards a C1 level. Go find out what you need to do for a C1 test, learn all the word in that test, blah, blah, blah. Sure, that works for a lot of people. But if that doesn't work for you, and I'm assuming you're one of those people, then think about this. How can I make this language so core to me as a human that if I don't become the best at it, I'm not saying learn it, I mean the absolute fucking best at it. Aim for the stars. If you fucking, you fall short, it doesn't matter. You've already gone way further. So how can I make me learning this language, and not just learning it, becoming the best motherfucker at this language out there, a core part of who I am? If you find a way to shift your mindset in that direction, you will be surprised with what you can achieve. You'll get way further than any external goal like, I want to pass a test, I want to communicate with work colleagues, I want to watch so-and-so. Those are great goals. They work for some people, but they are nothing in comparison to, if I do not do this, then I fail at who I am, okay? Now, for some people, that's actually fucking terrifying. Seriously terrifying, and they will never do that due to the fact that they're scared of failing. But you only fail if you stop trying. So as long as you keep going forward, you will make progression. And I've mentioned this story once before with my brother on this channel, a story I'm about to talk about now. But this one is a perfect implementation of that. My brother was a heavy smoker for 20 years. One day stopped out of the blue, and never picked up another cigarette again. He had the symptoms, the withdrawal and everything, but he iron as stone just stopped. And I remember asking him, what did he do? And he said he did the one thing he's absolutely terrified of doing. He looked into the mirror, because he's an ex-soldier like me. He looked into the mirror and he said, if you don't quit, you're a fucking coward. And he said that with his entire soul. Now, my brother is the type of person that you cannot call a coward. He will fight you over that. Why? Doesn't matter. It is a core part of who he is. But he told himself in the mirror that he's a fucking coward if he keeps smoking. And because he basically set himself this confliction, like, I don't even know the words for it, but he set himself this thing that literally conflicted with his core personality. He had to quit, or he would destroy himself as a human, basically. And quitting smoking is so much easier than admitting to himself that he's a coward. So he just quit. That's it. And then I asked him, because he's talked about, getting into fitness, why don't you do the same thing? And he's like, bro, no, I can't. When I do that, I know it's go time. I cannot go back once I set that. That's the hardest part, okay? We all know what we need to do. The hardest part is once you find whatever that core thing is that will break you as a human and you commit to it, there's no going back. So find out what that is for you and learning this language, and then do it. And once you do it, you're not going to have this problem. You're going to learn this language. At the moment, the language is just some external thing that you kind of need, kind of don't. It's not a part of who you are, and it's not conflicting with your personality. Create that conflict. You will learn it. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. There was a lot of rambling in here. But I'll see you all next video. Make sure you sub to the channel. Fucking, it's crazy. I get like fucking 5 subs per video. And yet, 70 to 80% of you guys like watch these videos and not subbed. Anyway, I'll see you all next video. If you're not there, I'm gonna fucking stab you with this pen.